I rewatched Lilo and Stitch to get ready for the live-action remake, and wow, some characters age like milk. One turns people into obsessive love zombies, another just watches while a child gets bullied. So today, I'm counting down the ones who made me yell at my screen, from the mildly useless to the truly unforgivable, starting off with Nani. Now, I know, as a kid, you might have seen Nani as the strict sister who yelled too much, but 23 years later, watching the nostalgic live-action movie again, it all hits differently. Nani wasn't just an older sibling. She was a kid forced to become a parent overnight. She worked hard, held everything together, and still found time to dance, laugh, and make Lilo feel loved. She wasn't perfect, but she never gave up. Through every fight and every hug, Nani proved what real love looks like. Looking back now, she's not just loved, she's the heart of the whole story. And speaking of love, Victoria might not have had a huge role, but her loyalty to Lilo speaks volumes. She's kind and patient, and she accepts Lilo for who she is, even when others like Myrtle try to push her away. Victoria doesn't back down. She's there for Lilo through thick and thin, offering a sense of stability that's hard to find. Her friendship is a reminder that true loyalty is rare, making her a standout favorite. Then there's Agent Pleley. Yes, he's on the list of loved ones. Anyways, he might not have been the hero, but he was definitely the coolest. Think about it. He didn't cause trouble and stayed mostly in the background, but his quiet dedication to protecting Earth stood out. He wasn't worried about fame or glory, just keeping things safe. By the end, Pleley wasn't just an agent, he was a true friend to Earth, and honestly, his laid-back vibes make her a standout favorite. Following that kind of quiet heroism, Mrs. Hasegawa might be a bit mixed up, but her heart is pure gold. Believing 15 illegal experiments were just stray cats, she took them in without hesitation. Despite her hearing and sight issues, she treated them like family. In the end, she was able to perform the most experiments at once, a feat not many could pull off. Mrs. Hasegawa's love and patience make her truly unforgettable. Then there's David, who might seem simple. He likes surfing, fire breathing, and Nani, but there's more to him than meets the eye. His heart is huge, and he's fully invested in Nani's well-being. While others struggle with the chaos of their lives, David stays calm, steady, and supportive. He's the kind of guy who shows up, listens, and loves without expecting anything in return. In a world full of madness, David is the rock they need. But not every figure starts out so clearly good. Take Cobra Bubbles, for example. At first, he seems like the bad guy, working for the CIA and standing in the way of Lilo and Nani's happiness. But when you take a closer look, it's clear he's just doing his job, protecting kids in dangerous situations. He wasn't cruel, he was just trying to make sure Lilo was safe. Over time, though, Cobra softens. He sees that Nani can take care of Lilo and even help Stitch stay with them. He may have started as an antagonist, but he definitely earned some redemption. Speaking of misunderstood chaos, at first, Stitch was chaos in a fur coat, wild, angry, and ready to wreck everything in sight. But he wasn't just built to destroy. With Lilo's love, he learned to care, to protect, and to stay. Even when his past started pulling him back in, he fought to be better. He wasn't perfect, but he tried. And that effort, that growth makes Stitch more than loved. That makes him unforgettable. And behind Stitch's creation was Jumba, who may have started as a mad scientist causing chaos, but over time, he proved there's more to him than just evil experiments. Sure, he slipped up again and again, unleashing more trouble, but his heart was in the right place. He genuinely cares for Stitch and the rest of his creations, even showing a softer side for his unlikely family. And let's be honest, the bond with Pleley, definitely something more. But it all really can't end up without Lilo. She might have bitten a classmate and scared tourists with her camera, but Lilo was never just a troublemaker. She was a little girl grieving her parents, trying to make sense of a world that didn't feel fair. Other kids picked on her for being different, but she stayed true to herself. When she found Stitch, no one else wanted him, but she did. She believed in him when no one else would. Lilo's not perfect, but her heart is huge. That's why, even with all her chaos, she's one of the most loved characters of all, even after all these years. And just like Lilo gave others a chance, Sparky may have been a troublemaker at first, but he quickly found his way. Lilo even made a chart showing how much he grew, which says a lot. He wasn't just about causing chaos. He chose to make things right and work with Lilo and Stitch. In the end, Sparky proved himself as a true part of their odd family, always ready to help with whatever wild adventure came next. Angel followed a similar path. Yes, Angel, aka Lady Stitch, may have started off as a villain, but her heart has layers. She has the power to turn anyone good or bad, which is intense enough on its own. But when Gantu used her to turn Stitch evil, Angel still made the ultimate sacrifice, getting captured to save him. Her redemption arc proves she's more than just power. She's driven by love. Angel may have been tricky, but she's definitely loved. And then there's the ice cream guy, who may not be a main character, but his courage earns him a spot in the gray area. Every time he steps outside with his mint chocolate chip cone, disaster strikes. He loses it, yet he never gives up, facing the same heartbreak again and again. His resilience, even in the face of repeated failure, makes him unforgettable. Though not clearly good or bad, he's definitely one of the bravest. Now, not everyone's a hero or a villain. Some characters fall right in the middle, neither great nor terrible, just kinda there. Reuben brings a different kind of gray. Reuben is the epitome of go with the flow. As Stitch's older brother, he shares all the same powers but has one unique obsession: sandwiches. Despite being more than capable of stopping Stitch or joining the villainous schemes, Reuben just doesn't care. He'd rather make sandwiches than fight. Eventually, with a little push from Lilo, he shifts to the good side. His laid-back attitude makes him a neutral character with a surprisingly relaxed vibe. Speaking of surprising changes, she may have looked cold at first, but the Grand Councilwoman wasn't heartless. She believed Stitch was dangerous, and honestly, with how he acted early on, who could blame her? Her job was to protect the galaxy, but when she saw how much Lilo cared and how Stitch changed, she listened. She didn't just follow rules, she knew when to bend them. In the end, she chose family over fear, and that choice made her character arc worth rooting for. And then comes, Moses Peloki. or as his students call him, Kumu, Lilo's hula instructor. Look, I get it. Teaching a bunch of rowdy kids isn't easy, especially with Lilo leading the charge. He doesn't yell, he stays calm, but here's the thing, he's way too passive. Myrtle bullies Lilo right in front of him, and he does nothing. Sure, he's not outright bad, but he's hardly a hero either. Honestly, I secretly hate him for letting that stuff slide. He's just, there. And honestly, that's not enough when you're supposed to be leading by example. Then comes Hunka Hunka, who might look small and harmless, but his power caused some of the biggest disasters in the series. With just one peck, he could make anyone fall deeply in love with the first person they saw, no matter who it was. Gantu ended up crushing on Stitch, Nani fell for Gantu, and everything spun out of control. He didn't mean to hurt anyone, but his love spell chaos felt more like a curse than a gift. Lilo knew love shouldn't be forced, and that's why Hunka Hunka quickly earned his spot as one of the most hated characters. And Gantu's story doesn't help much either. Gantu is one of those villains who just can't seem to get it together. As a former head goon, he's supposed to be a big threat, but his evil plans are a disaster every time. Even when he works for Von Hamsterville, he can't seem to win. By the end, he betrays his evil boss, realizing being bad isn't his thing, but it's too little, too late. He spent most of the series as a major antagonist, yet his constant failure keeps him from ever truly being taken seriously as a villain. Poor guy, really. Then there's Myrtle's clique. Elena, Teresa, and Yuki are basically her yes girls. Think Regina George's minions, but with less personality. These girls are like background characters, always nodding along with Myrtle's every move. They rarely show any real personality, and when they do, it's just agreeing with Myrtle or being mean for no real reason. They don't stand up to her, even though they secretly dislike her. Honestly, they're just as bad as Myrtle by letting her bully Lilo, too scared to stand up for what's right. They're not evil, but they sure don't help. Anyways, let's talk about real villains, the ones who absolutely deserve to be hated. These are the characters who crossed every line, the ones who made us cringe and left us no choice but to root for their downfall, because Leroy really seals the deal on the unlikable. Leroy's a tough one to love. He's essentially Stitch's clone, but without an ounce of the goodness that Stitch eventually found. Unlike his counterpart, Leroy is completely soaked in evil. He's a walking, talking disaster with zero redeeming qualities. While this goes against the show's theme of redemption, Leroy doesn't get a chance at a comeback. He's too far gone to be saved. Some characters make us root for them, but Leroy, he's just a bad dude through and through. Simple as that. And of course, there's Myrtle. Myrtle's the type of character who makes you roll your eyes. If you've ever been bullied in school, she probably hit a nerve. Sure, Lilo wasn't your typical kid, but Myrtle's constant mocking and shunning were out of line. Some might say Lilo deserved it after their fight, but let's not forget Myrtle started it. She has that annoying, mean girl energy, always picking on others to make herself feel better. Seriously, what's with that big fluffy Dorito hair? If anyone needed a reality check, it's Myrtle, and I'm standing by that. Last but absolutely villainous, Dr. Von Hamsterville takes the top spot as the ultimate villain. A small, gerbil-like creature with a massive ego. He's the embodiment of pure evil. Although he doesn't show up until the second movie, he quickly proves himself as the main antagonist. Hamsterville, working with Jumba, is directly responsible for creating the 626 experiments, which means he's just as guilty. Unlike Jumba, who redeems himself, Hamsterville remains corrupt, constantly scheming to build an army and conquer the galaxy. While his plans are ruthless, they're also hilariously incompetent, thanks to his constant failures. Still, he's a dangerous force that will stop at nothing to get what he wants. So that's the lineup, from the quietly annoying to the ones who had no business being on screen. But what do you think? Did we nail the ranking, or did we just start a Stitch-sized war? Hit the comments and let me know who you'd kick off the island or secretly defend. I'm ready.